Today we're going to talk about problem solving with one-step equations. So right here we have write and solve an equation. Susan has 37 more coins than Kim. Susan has 135 coins. Write and solve an equation to find the number of coins that Kim has. So when you are solving a word problem, first you need to identify the variable. You don't know how many coins that Kim has. So you usually can figure out what the variable needs to be by the question. I need to find the number of coins that Kim has. So I'm going to do a lowercase k. That's going to be my variable. I'm going to define it. And this is going to be the number of coins Kim has. Now I want to write an equation. Susan has 37 more. Remember that more or more than? I automatically put 37 more. This is how I translate it into an algebraic expression. 37 more than Kim. And we know that Kim's coins now is being represented with the variable k. And Susan has 135. Has just means equals. Has is equals. Susan equals 135. So Susan has 137 more than Kim, and it equals 135. So this is your algebraic equation. It's an equation because it has an equal sign. If I knew how many Kim had, then this would make it a true sentence. So I have to figure out what Kim has. The way that I am going to figure this out, because I'm not given any choices to substitute in there, is I want to isolate the variable. I want to get the variable by itself. Right now, there's a plus 37 with it. I need to get rid of that 37. Right now, k plus 37 is balanced with 135. So if I get rid of this 37, it's going to make it unbalanced. So whatever I do to one side, I have to do the other side. And the only way I can get rid of this plus 37, is I need to take the inverse operation. So inverse operation. And all an inverse operation is the opposite operation of what's happening. So for a multiplication, the inverse operation would be division. For division, the inverse operation would be multiplication. Well, for addition, the inverse operation of addition is subtraction. And you would subtract exactly what is being added. So if I do this, k, nothing happened to k. K is still k. But if I had 37 and I took 37 away, wouldn't that give me 0? Do I have to put plus 0? I don't want to put plus 0. I'm just going to leave it. Well, now I've made it unbalanced. It was balanced, but now I've made it unbalanced because I took the 37 away. So because I took the 37 away from one side, I'm going to have to take the 37 away from the other side. When I do that, it's going to equal 98. And this is going to, remember what k stands for? K is the number of coins that Kim has. So Kim has 98 coins. Miss Royce, do we have to write the answer as a sentence? Yes, you do. If it's a word problem, then your answer should have a sentence. And then I can check to make sure this is true. Substitute the 98 in for the k. Is 98 plus 37 equal 135? Yes, it does. So you know you did it right. Let's jump to another example. Write and solve an equation. A clothing store has sold, we know sold means minus, right? Sold 140 tie-dye shirts so far. The store still has 150 tie-dye shirts left to sell. So they've sold 140, they have 150 left. Write and solve an equation to find out how many shirts the store started out with. Remember, go to your question. What's it asking you to do? It wants you to find out how many shirts the store started out with. So I'm going to assign a variable. I'm going to write a T for the t-shirts and number of shirts store started out with. Oops, out with. It's exactly what I got from my question. Now I have to make an algebraic equation. Ms. Royce, do I really have to? Because I can figure it out. Yes, because if you are being graded on do you know how to write an algebraic equation, then yes, you're going to have to write the equation. So it says a clothing store has sold 140. Well, this says it started out with, so the total it started out with. So I'm going to put T, and then it sold 140 shirts, and that left them with 150 left. They started out with this many shirts, they sold 140, leaves them with 150. I need to figure out how much T is. The only way I can figure that out is if I get it all by itself, where it says T equals and gives me a value. Only way to do that is to get rid of this minus 40. Well, how do I get rid of minus 40? I take the inverse operation. What's the inverse operation of subtraction? Addition. And then I use the exact same number that it gave me, so the 140. This is just saying I had 140, I took 140 away. What does that leave me? It leaves me with 0. T minus nothing is just going to give me a T. So T equals, well, T minus 140 equals 150. That was balanced. That's in a balanced equation. As soon as I took that 140 away, it made it unbalanced. Using my pencil, kind of like a balance. It goes unbalanced. Well, actually, I guess it would be like this because it's 140 less, right? So in order to make my equation back balanced, I have to do the exact same thing that I did on the one side of the equation to the other. And what did I do? I added a 140. So over on this side, I also need to add a 140. And that would equal 290. Now I can see that T equals 290. So all the number of shirts the store started with was 290. So 290 is the store started with. $290 is, I guess I should have put is what the store started with. When I am solving word problems, I identify or define my variable. I write my algebraic equation, and then I solve. And how do I solve? I take the inverse operation. All right, let's do another example. Gary has put $250 into a savings account. To do this, he made 10 deposits of the same amount. Well, remember, same amount is always going to be division or multiplication. And it says deposits, meaning he put money in. So I'm thinking that's going to be repeated addition. That's going to be multiplication. Deposits, the same amount. Okay. Write and solve an equation to find out the amount of each deposit. Okay, so what are we finding out? The amount of each deposit. I'm going to put D for deposit. And I'm defining my variable. The amount of each deposit. Miss Royce, is it really that easy? I can just look at the question and figure out what the variable is standing for? Yeah. That's the amount you don't know. That's what your variable is always going to be, an amount you don't know. All right. He has put $250 into a savings account. So that's how much he has. He has $250 in there. To do this, he has made 10 deposits. So 10 times he has made the same amount deposit. So say he put $5 in every day for 10 days. 5, 5, 5, plus another 5, plus another 5. Isn't that repeated addition? So repeated addition is just multiplication. That would be 10 times how much he put in every day. And how do we write that? We just write it 10D because remember, a number next to a variable, I don't need a multiplication sign. 250. So I know 10D equals $250. I need to know how much he actually put in every single day. Well, I take the inverse operation because I want to isolate that D. I want to make D by itself. And right now, it's being multiplied by a 10. What's the inverse operation of multiplication? Right, division. I'm going to divide. Well, what do I divide by? I divide by whatever I'm multiplying by. I'm multiplying by 10, so I need to divide by 10. 10 divided by 10 is going to give me 1. 1 times D is just going to give me D. All right? Now, as soon as I divided the one side by 10, I took that equation that was perfectly balanced and made it unbalanced. So I have to do the exact same thing to the other side to keep it balanced. I divided this side by 10, so I need to divide this side by 10. And I know when I divide by 10, I'm just moving my decimal over one place to the left. So how much did he deposit every day? He deposited $25. So I'm going to write $25 each deposit. And then that is my final answer. And let's do one last problem together. Tori worked 86.1 hours in 7 days. So for 7 days, she worked 86.1. Write and solve an equation to determine how many hours she worked per day. Okay, so this is going to be my variable. Want to do W for worked. So hours worked per day. This is kind of like this. How much did he put in each deposit? Well, this is how much did she work per day. And we know she worked 7 days. So say she worked 5 hours every day. 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5. Isn't that just going to be your multiplication? So 7 times W is going to equal your 86.1. This is how many total hours she worked. I need to figure out how much she worked per day. Right now, there's a 7 being multiplied with my variable. I need to isolate my variable. I need to get the variable all by itself so I can see the value, so I can figure out the value. Right now, it's being multiplied, so I need to take the inverse operation, which is division, divided by 7. I need to keep it balanced, so I need to divide the other side by 7. That will give me 7 over 7, which would be 1, and 1 times W is just going to give me W. And then if I take 7 and I divide it into 86.1, remember I bring my decimal straight up. Bring down my 6, goes in twice. 14, bring down my 1, 7 goes into 21, 3. So she worked 12.3 hours daily. You could have said per day, daily, they mean the same thing. You don't have to be word for word, you just have to have the right idea. Okay, so just to sum it up, you need to define your variable. You need to set up your algebraic equation And then you need to solve it. And you solve it by finding your inverse operation so you can isolate. Isolate means make your variable by itself. You want to isolate the variable. Remember, as soon as you set that equation up, it's balanced the way it is. So whenever you do the inverse operation on one side, to keep it balanced, you have to do the same thing to the other side. And just for instance, if I had 5 and 5 and this was a balance and I took 1 away, well, that would make it 4. All of a sudden, it's no longer balanced. So I would have to subtract 1 on this side to make it 4. So that's true with all of your equations. Whatever you do to one side of the equal sign is like a little equation. It's a balance. You have to do it to the other side. All right. Great job, guys.